If you follow this exact blueprint, then your channel is going to explode, you're going to be way ahead of the curve, and you're going to be earning lots of Google AdSense income in no time. When I first started my channel, it took me just 6 weeks to get monetized and just under 3 months to get my first 15,000 subscribers. And today I'm going to share the exact blueprint that I would follow if I were to start a YouTube channel in 2025. If you want even more in-depth tips on how to start and grow a YouTube channel, I do have a newsletter where I frequently share tips and insights on pretty much every aspect of being a YouTuber. Some articles that I've shared in the past include things like how to be consistent with YouTube even with a full-time job, tips on how to be more efficient with the whole process, how to be confident in front of a camera, how to identify your niche, what gear I would recommend, how to systemize your entire process, and so much more. So if you're interested in that, then the link is in the description below. I'm going to split this video into 2 parts using a very simple house building analogy. So the first part is going to be all about setting the foundation, and then part 2 is going to be about building the house layer by layer, brick by brick. There are so many things that go into being a YouTuber, like your niche, your title, thumbnail, hook, your camera confidence, your editing, your scripting. So in part 1, all you need to worry about is just getting things off the ground and just getting started. That is all. It is simply setting the foundation, getting the basics right, and nothing else. When we get to part 2, that's where we're going to talk about building on top of that foundation and really how to level up as a YouTuber. The first thing that I would recommend in part 1 is to plan and make your first 4 videos before even posting the first one. And this was exactly what I did, and it helped me so much to stay consistent at the very beginning, because when you're making your first few videos, they will be the most time consuming to make simply because you don't really know what you're doing and how to do things efficiently. It takes me like a third or a quarter of the time to make my YouTube videos now versus back then when I was first starting out. Like I remember it took me like 3 or 4 hours just to film one single video because I just kept making mistakes. I wanted to re-record things and like the angle wasn't right and it was just like not efficient at all. And then with editing, I really had no clue what I was doing. So with every single thing that I wanted to figure out how to do, I had to like go on YouTube, watch a tutorial, and then like replicate it on DaVinci Resolve. It just took so long. What you don't want to happen is to post your first video and then suddenly think like, oh shit, now I need to do that all over again for next week. And you're gonna feel like all this time pressure to get it done. So what I would highly recommend is just having 4 that you have ready to go in the back burner so that you can continue posting on like a weekly basis if that is your goal. And that'll give you more buffer time as well to be working on and making future videos. This is really going to help you to stay consistent at the very beginning. And to be honest, for most new YouTubers, one of the biggest hurdles is getting started and then staying consistent and not falling off after like the first or second video. So have 4 videos that you have made already in advance. Second thing we're going to talk about is gear. And trust me guys, you really do not need a lot of gear to start a successful YouTube channel. You don't need that fancy Sony camera. You don't need that G Master lens. You don't need that fancy studio setup and tech. All you really need, and this was exactly the gear that I used at the beginning, is just your phone, a tripod, natural sunlight, and a cheap clip-on mic. Literally all I used to film to get to my first 15,000 subscribers was my phone. Most phones nowadays honestly have really, really good camera quality, and most of you guys watching will have fancy schmancy iPhones. I personally have a Google Pixel 6, which work perfectly fine. Don't even think about investing in more fancy tech or gear because that is gonna be a point of procrastination for you. Most people will go into like this analysis paralysis thing where they will research so much into all the different cameras and then like compare the different microphone options that are out there, and there are thousands, and it is so easy to get yourself into that hole. And what's going to happen is you're going to get so overwhelmed that it's just going to be a pain point for you to not start your YouTube channel whatsoever. And genuinely, it's going to be such a big waste of your time, especially at the beginning, because it doesn't matter. Even with all of this gear, you are not going to be making good quality videos from the get-go. So all you really need to focus on is the skill, the art of making good videos. And then once you figure all that out, you can start thinking about what gear you're going to need to level up. Next, let's talk about editing. The editing software that I would highly recommend is DaVinci Resolve. And the reason because it's completely free, and the free version has every feature that you could possibly need as a beginner YouTuber and beyond. Even if you are a seasoned video maker, it has so many cool and fancy features that you can access with the free version. And so because DaVinci Resolve exists, I genuinely think that it is completely unnecessary to pay for editing software. I know you've got things like Final Cut Pro and Adobe Premiere or whatever they're called. And I know sometimes you have to pay for like monthly subscriptions or like a one-off payment. And I just think it is completely unnecessary, and it will be a waste of money if you are just a beginner and you have no clue how to edit videos. DaVinci Resolve at the very beginning can seem kind of daunting because it is known as one of the harder softwares to use, but I genuinely don't think so. When you're starting out, you only need to learn how to to do basic things like basic cuts and how to change the volume or how to add transition and things like that. It's really not difficult. And so how I learned how to edit videos at the beginning is just to go on YouTube. And because DaVinci Resolve is such a commonly used software, there are tons and tons of how-to videos and tutorials that you can find on YouTube, and you can learn pretty much everything you need from there. And also, if you're learning how to edit on a harder editing software at the very beginning, that means that any other editing software that you switch to in future is going to be a breeze to learn. Another editing application that I've recently started using about like 6 months ago is Recut, and it has honestly been the most game-changing thing for me in terms of being more efficient with making my videos. Like, no joke, this has cut my editing time in half. And what Recut does is it detects all of the pauses and silences in your audio clips, and then you can immediately just erase all of that in one go. And so all you're left with is just the clean footage. It's honestly one of the biggest reasons why I've been able to stay consistent with posting videos once a week. I do have a discount link for Recut if you guys are interested to use it. I'll put the discount code on the screen here, and I'll put a link to it in the description below. The final thing I would say you would need at the very beginning is to just have a system for your channel. You need one central place where you keep track of all your video ideas, all of your scripts, your posting schedule, and being organized with all of this is gonna really help you to stay consistent with posting videos on YouTube. At the beginning, I really did not have any sort of a system in place. Everything was just all over the place and was really hard to keep track. And so over time, I developed this Notion template, which is so easy to use, completely intuitive and straightforward, and is also very neat and organized. And I use it every single day to this day. You can steal my Notion template for free. The link is in the description below. You'll also have access to a full video tutorial that I filmed where I walk you through how to use the template step by step. So part 2 is all about building the house. And like a house, you build it brick by brick, layer by layer. Like stacking bricks, you are essentially stacking skills and stacking knowledge. And over time, you're going to have this big, beautiful house. And that's the point where you will have enough skill, enough knowledge, enough know-how to be consistently making great videos. These next few points are key areas of YouTube that you should be focusing on getting better at over time. So first thing is, what should I make videos about? Honestly, people stress so much about niche at the very beginning. And trust me, your niche and your style of making videos is gonna be something that will develop over time the more videos that you make. In my YouTube tips newsletter, I actually released an article on this not too long ago. It was titled Overcoming the Niche Problem. And in that article, I share in-depth tips on how to uncover your niche, and also included an exercise that you can do to help you with that. If you want to check that out, the link is in the description below, and that will also put you on the list for the newsletter. TLDR is, don't worry about your niche. You just need to focus on making better and better videos each time. The main focus should be just on bringing value to your audience, no matter what the topic is about. And also, the more videos you make and the more topics you try out, the more you will discover what type of videos you enjoy making and what your own unique style is. I started off with just talking head videos purely on productivity, self-improvement, and things like that. And then I started experimenting with more vloggy type videos where I take a more personal spin on it. And those are the videos where I document my whole journey of quitting my 9-to-5. And I realized that I really enjoy making those videos. And I've also experimented with like mishmashing the two styles together, which has been really fun and interesting. So if you're stuck for video ideas, these are 3 prompts that will help you to get started. And I ask myself these same questions too whenever I feel stuck or feel like I need a bit of inspiration for what to make videos on. Number 1 is, what kind of videos do you like watching or get the most value from watching? Number 2 is, what problems have you solved for yourself in the past? And could you teach someone else to do the same? The third tip is to steal like an artist. And to be honest, at the beginning, you learn by observing what other people are doing. And no, this is not the same as copying other creators. It's more like taking inspiration from other people and then putting your own unique twist to it. And this is exactly what I like to do. So I'll see that another person has made a video about, I don't know, 5 micro habits that completely changed their life. And then I will take that title as an essay prompt. So I won't even watch their video because I don't want to be influenced by what they're saying, because then it'll be tempting to like copy them or say the same things. And so I'll just take the title and then I'll plan out a completely new video with my own unique experiences and examples. And then I will make a video on the same topic, but just done in my own way. And that way you are using your own original ideas. It's not copying, because no one has copyright or ownership over specific YouTube titles or topics. And what you'll see is that a lot of creators will just make videos on the same things, especially if you're within the same niche. Like, it's going to be inevitable that that's going to happen. But what you want to do is just have your own unique spin. Next thing is on title, thumbnail, thumbnail, and hook. And if you guys are aware of Pareto's principle, it's also known as the 80-20 rule, which basically means that 20% of your inputs or your efforts will account for 80% of your success or your outputs. And so with YouTube, your 20% that's going to give you 80% of your returns is your title, your thumbnail, and hook. Because I'm going to be so real with you guys, if no one is interested in clicking on your video, they are not going to see all the fancy editing that you did, all the hard work that you put into your scripting and planning your whole 15-minute video. Because if the title is not enticing enough, if your thumbnail is not enticing enough, then none of that is going to matter. You need to earn the click. I do have a free title, thumbnail, and hook guide that I made last year, so if you want to access that, link is in the description below. I was thinking of making a more updated version of that guide, which includes way more details and way more lessons that I've learned along the way on how to make a good title, thumbnail, and hook. So if you guys think that would be helpful for you, then do let me know in the comments below, and then that's something that I can start working on for you guys. One thing that has massively changed the game for my YouTube channel, and this is something that I wish I had taken more seriously at the very beginning, is planning my title, thumbnail, and hook first before even writing a single word of my script. So nowadays what I'll do is just like come up with concepts for potential videos I could make, but then I won't start planning it until I feel like I've got a solid packaging for that video, which is a solid title and thumbnail combination. And trust me, all successful big YouTubers do this. It doesn't feel very intuitive and it feels very unnatural at the start, but trust me, like once you do it, like after a month or two, you will start to understand why it's important to do this and why it works so well. So if you're starting out with YouTube, the only editing software that you need for thumbnails is Canva. Like trust me, you do not need Photoshop unless of course you have a lot of experience already, you're like a professional photographer or whatever and have those editing skills. If you don't, then Canva is more than enough. And to be honest, I would recommend getting Canva Premium. I personally use that, and the extra features are honestly like really helpful in making your thumbnails look very professional. For the title, a rule of thumb is to not repeat what you already have on your thumbnail. Like let's say if you already have text on there, make sure your title and thumbnail are complementary. They are saying more about the video rather than you just like repeating words. So for example, if your title is how to get abs in 30 days, you're not going to have how to get abs in 30 days as text on the thumbnail because that's just a waste of precious real estate. And then as a rule of thumb, make your thumbnails less than 55 characters. Otherwise it will just like truncate and cut off your title on certain platforms. Another thing is to make it catchy but not clickbaity. You obviously want to attract viewers, but you also got to make sure that whatever your title is, whatever your thumbnail is saying, you need to make sure that it accurately represents the value that you're going to bring to your audience. Otherwise, if your audience clicks on your video and expects one thing but then receives another, they're going to just like click off and they're not going to watch your video, and that's going to ruin your average view duration time. And if your average view duration decreases, then of course the algorithm is not going to push your video out to more people because it thinks, okay, this person isn't providing value to our audience, let's not share this to more people. I use this tool all the time which tests thumbnail title combinations. It's called thumbsup.tv. So it basically simulates what your title and thumbnail will look like on the home page, on the side column, and if someone's on mobile or whether they're on Apple TV or on their computer. So it's a really good test to see whether it looks aesthetic and it looks catchy and enticing enough. For your hook, a really good frame that I found recently to structure it is the 3 Ps. And to be honest, I got this from the Hormozis. So that is proof, promise, and plan. So proof is giving people a reason to believe you. Proof is essentially showing that you have achieved that thing or you've helped other people to achieve that thing. So I made a video about how you can change your life in 1 year. And I started that video by saying everything that I achieved in 1 year to completely turn my life around. Second thing is promise. The promise is what your audience will get from watching your video. And then plan is basically outlining and summarizing how your viewer is going to get there. Let's say you're making a video about how to lose weight. The hook would sound something like this. I lost 100 pounds in 12 months. That is the proof that you've done the thing. If you follow these 3 weight loss hacks, which is the plan, then you will also be able to lose 100 pounds within 12 months. And that is the promise that you're giving your viewers. That is the promise of what result they're going to achieve if they follow your plan so that they can achieve your desired result. And this works really, really well for how-to videos and self-improvement videos. It largely works with pretty much any niche in my opinion. In my title, thumbnail, and hook guide, I outline lots of different ways that you can write an effective hook. But one of my favorite ways that works really, really well for my channel is outlining a pain point, telling my audience how I overcame that pain point and how that's changed my life. And then I'll say how exactly I'm going to help my audience to solve that exact same problem. The final thing that you should be focusing on is just getting 1% better with each and every video you make. Just improving 1 or 2 small things each time. As long as you do this and as long as you are consistent with posting, you you are eventually going to reach a point where you're going to be consistently making very high quality videos. This method honestly helped me to improve really quickly at the beginning. I would just focus on tweaking one thing at a time. So let's say in this video, I will focus on adding music. And then for the next video, I'll learn how to make more interesting transitions. And then for the next video after that, I'll think about how to incorporate more interesting B-roll. And trust me, I can guarantee if you follow this method, you will improve a lot faster than you expect to. If you follow these steps, then I guarantee you'll be well on your way to smashing your YouTube goals in the new year. And by the way, if you are interested in taking your YouTube channel to the next level, I do offer a one-to-one YouTube consulting service where you can book my time for 60 minutes. And during those sessions, we will tackle everything that you're struggling with on YouTube, how to get you unstuck to get you to the next level. You can ask me anything you want about how I do things on my channel. There's absolutely no gatekeeping here. And if you'd like, I can also give you in-depth feedback on your channel and on your videos. If that sounds like something that you would hugely benefit from, then you can register your interest in the link that I will put in the description below. Once you register your interest, then I'll get back to you shortly with next steps. Okay guys, take care and see you in the next video.